Hello, everyone. We are here with Isolte Avila. She's the heart of SignDance Collective. And alongside David Bauer, we will talk with him later. And we want to know everything you can tell us about it. It's like it's one of the most interesting theater companies ever. And please tell us a little bit about it. What is it? Who is SignDance Collective? Who are you? And when and why did you start working together?
So SignDance Collective is there because of the art form, SignDance Theater. The company wouldn't exist if it was not for the art form itself. And in 1986, I was dancing in a regular company, and I had something happen to both my spine and my hips, which I was born with a disability. And I met a lot of young deaf people at a workshop, and in that workshop, I thought, oh, this is such an opportunity for me as a disabled person, as a disabled dancer, to be able to carry on dancing through the using sign theater. So that's how SignDance Theater was born, and it's been going since that time. Really developed. I was thinking this morning about the language in the company and how we use words. We use words in a way that to make them visual, but not in an interpreting way. So that idea to create multi-layered visual and narrative works has developed the company to go on for so long. Its longevity, I think, is due to the art form and our commitment to it.
How were your first collaborations?
I was saying to somebody the other day that when we first started touring in London in schools, we had to put our hands behind our backs. We weren't allowed to sign with the children. The children had to sit on their hands. They weren't allowed to sign. We weren't allowed to sign. And it was like a mini revolution. So at the end of every workshop and every performance, we would have one of the deaf performers stand up and give a lecture about sign language. So this went on for like 3 years, and things.
But deaf children.
Deaf children, yeah. The one time we went to Donaldson School for the Deaf in Scotland, and the children, after they worked with us, they like out of a revolutionary act, they took their hearing aids off and they threw them in the middle of the floor. It was just like this. It was like a mini revolution.
That's amazing.
The first works were like, we worked with Deviate with Lloyd Newson. We worked with the people from the London Contemporary Dance Theatre and School. We worked with a lot of those choreographers, and they really helped us to develop the form in dance terms. So really, SignDance Collective is really a dance company at heart. But because of our love for words and working with narrative and working with theater, we've always worked within a very strict dance theater. There's more a real combination of dance and theater together. So yeah.
What was your first show together?
The first show was called Light cycle 5. And it was really just a pure dance piece. And the second piece was called A Stranger Disintegrates. And we won a digital dance award for that. And it was like the littlest award in the whole category. And it was like, you know, we took off from there. But we were based in London for 15 years. And then moved when we moved to Europe for 7 years, everything really changed. We started working with international collaborators, and the language and the use of multi languages and multi-sign languages really changed how we think about our work. So
what was your first collaborative piece with other nationalities or groups or cultures?
So we're working with Goro Osojnik from Anna Desetnica Street Theater Festival. And he introduced us to a lot of people. So it was like a really, it's been a very slow process to work with people in a collaborative way, which doesn't drown out anything. We worked with Ornella D'Agostino. We worked with Beatriz Cabur. We worked with a lot of different people, but I guess those 3 individuals and Joke Mensink from Diagonal Theatre Company, who worked with us for a long time, from Holland. So I guess those 4 individuals from Europe have been the most influential artists in the company. And now, of course, we're working with so many different people from all over the world.
How has your work evolved during the years? What would you say is the biggest change that you can see? You know, in the first pieces you were doing to these ones, what are the main differences?
So we've never been very keen on interpretation or interpreters in our work, and we've never really used that. And it's always been a big challenge to ensure that communication is clear. And it's always a challenge in rehearsals and everything. But I think that multimedia has really changed how we work. It's allowed us to have creative subtitling. The way that we use signing, it has become much more, it's the blood, it's the heart of the company. So the way we use signing in songs and pushing it into the music has been something really developmental. And then using really complex language, like in Carthage by Kari Zadcevic, very complex poetry. We developed The Tempest. That was a huge challenge for us, just because we don't use interpreters. So everything was signed and spoken, and there's a lot of controversy with that. But
that is called transcreation. You're transcreating into a different language, whatever the language is.
Because we're using our voices and signing at the same time, it is seen as very controversial in lots of different communities. But
why?
That performer integrated into one with signing, singing, speaking, moving, I think is what is the stamp of SignDance Collective. So the musician moves and signs, and even the person who's doing the multimedia stands up and signs and acts. And so it's all within what's happening rather than an external interpretation. I was asked the other day by the NHS in the UK what I felt when I got my vaccine. It was a phone call, and I said, I've changed the world. I think that every little step that we make as artists shifts things. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. You don't have to be this massive organization or anything like that to shift things, to make the world a better place for everybody. I think tolerance is the number one thing I would say that artists can show to the world, because we can work with everybody, and not everybody in the world can do that.
Do you know, there is this saying that goes like, everybody's worried about going back to the past and doing something that will affect the future, but no one thinks that that is the present. You know, you can do the same thing. It's like, if I step on a mosquito 20 years ago, well, think about that impact that you can have right now by doing these little things. So that is a way of showing people, yes, you can have that impact now in the little things that you can, you know, implement in your life and doing those. That's a good example, isn't it?
That's a really good example. And just because of my own disability, being so progressive and how weak I am, I often, and when I'm on stage and people come up to me and say, "Oh, how did you do that?" Blah blah blah. I always think, in the end, it's like my effort is not really for everyone else. I dance because I love it. I enjoy it, and I wouldn't do it if I didn't. I don't do it because I want to save the world, but I know that my love for what I do can save the world. So, yeah.
What is your ideal audience? Who do you want to see?
My ideal audience is so varied. Like, I love performing in front of a huge crowd, which I think I don't. I think, oh, I'm really scared. I'm really scared. And when I go on stage, I'm like, oh, this is really fun. And also, like the other day, we performed in front of 3 people with some Austrian wine in their living room, in our first performance in Zadar in Croatia. And 2 days ago, we performed to 10 people in a gym, in a huge gym.
That's amazing.
And we, you know, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, performance is performance, and adapting. You know, we had this performance in Bartın in Turkey. We had 1,500 people in the audience. Petrifying, absolutely petrifying. And they stood up for 20 minutes, a standing ovation for Kasaj.
Oh, wow.
And you see the photos of us going, like, we don't expect anything ever, you know, when things come our way, but we just work because I think we love the work. We love it. I love to see people, I love to see ideas grow in different ways. So if I say to one person, let's make a dance about a flower, that dance about this sign for flower or grow is going to be different with every individual. And I think sign dance itself as a dance form is so cool in that way. So if I make, like, dance is so, but because sign language is a language, it really takes it to the next level of gesture. So I might say, you know, smile, and everybody has a different, if I say to you, this is a sign for smile, you will do it differently than somebody else. So in performance terms, that really shifts how, like, we can just do an entire piece about the sign for smile.